As we race towards the release of Aetherdrift, it's easy to overlook the fact that the vehicle card type has been a part of Magic for some time now. While not as ancient as most of the jank I love, there are many cards with a strong vehicle focus that don't get much play. Let's delve into some of these cards and see if they might find new life after Aetherdrift drops. Roll the intro. Before we begin the video, I just want to shout out Magic Madhouse. They're the biggest retailer of MTG products in the UK, so if you're grabbing Aetherdrift or maybe some Innistrad Remastered, go use my affiliate link down in the description. Costs you nothing, I get a little kickback, and it lets those guys know that you like my stuff. Magic Madhouse have been my biggest supporters for a while now, so by clicking that link before you order, you'll be doing me a huge favour, and I'll appreciate it forever. Right, let's get on with the video. Vehicle artifacts have a power and toughness, but aren't creatures until they are crewed. Typically, this is done using the crew mechanic. Crew 2, for example, means that you tap any number of creatures you control with total power 2 or more, and then the vehicle becomes a creature until end of turn. So you're jamming some of your guys into the driving seat and sending them screaming towards your opponent. Speaking of your guys, let's look at some creatures that will synergize with vehicles. Let's start off by finding a vehicle that we want. When Deadeye Quartermaster enters, you can go search your deck for a vehicle or equipment to put it into your hand. So go get something with Crew 2 and they can pilot it as well. Very handy. There are a number of creatures that can give your vehicles additional abilities. Erenor Admiral gives them more flying, Gearshift Ace and Kitsune Ace both give one of them first strike for a turn. Miriam Herd Whisperer gives them hexproof during your turn, and Speedway Fanatic gives any vehicle it crews haste for the immediate beep beep all in. There are also a number of creatures that can help with crewing costs. Astor, Bearer of Blades, gives all your vehicles Crew 1. And you'll see later that there are some rides that need a lot of hands on deck, so this could help out a ton. Giant Ox and Hotshot Mechanic both crew vehicles at a much higher number than their power, which can also really help out. Depala Pilot Exemplar and Rip Spawn Hunter can both help you dig through your deck to find more vehicle cards to play. Depala also has an Anthem effect to give all your vehicles +1/+1 when they're crewed. Rip is an interesting one as they have Survival, a mechanic introduced in Duskmourn. If Rip is tapped at the beginning of your second main phase, you can start digging through your deck for vehicle cards. It can be risky for a 4/4 to swing out reliably to get that trigger, but we don't need to attack to tap. Crew in your main phase, and then when second main rolls around, get your shovel out. Intrepid Stable Master is a mana dork that gives 2 mana of any colour for vehicles. I'm guessing we'll be getting a bunch of vehicles with colour identities in Aetherdrift, so I can see this dork being helpful in your multicoloured decks that have green in the mix. And there's Greasefang, but we're talking about cards you probably don't remember, so we'll be ignoring her for now. Just jumping in to say like, comment, and subscribe. It lets the algorithm know that people like my videos, and I appreciate it so much. Let's get back to it. Okay, you've got your driver, but we're playing Magic the Gathering. It's in the name, so let's look for some spells to sling that might give our rides a boost. Anchored to Reality can shoot us vehicles out onto the board, potentially cheating mana cost too, which is really nice. Even better if you can benefit from the sacrifice permanent or maybe even recur it. Speaking of recursion, Akiba Salvage and One Last Job can bring our vehicles back from the grave. There's plenty more artifact recursion out there that's probably better rate, but if you need more of it in your deck, these are both extremely cheap to pick up. Finally, we have the most interesting in my opinion. These spells all crew your vehicles for you, regardless of the crew value. Suit Up targets a single vehicle or creature and makes it into a creature, which for your vehicles technically crews it, and makes its base power toughness 4/5. Even better are Armed and Armored and Start Your Engines. Since vehicles aren't creatures unless crewed, if someone plays a board wipe, maybe even yourself, everything will die, but your cars are all parked up safe in the garage. Drop one of these to mass crew and swing in freely. Also, these are both just great ways of finishing the game anyway without the board wipes, so definitely worth having. There are a few interesting vehicle-focused enchantments out there too, so let's take a look. Akiba Wreck and a Raid is a cheap little saga that comes down and drains your opponent on the first 2 chapters. On the third, it flips over and gives all your vehicles Menace, which is great for sneaking in for damage. Along these lines, Aerial Modification and Siege Modification both make the vehicles they enchant into creatures, but also give them some form of buff, flying at first strike respectively. Roaring Earth is a fantastic landfall payoff for your vehicles, giving you some passive buffing for just hitting your land drops. Bonus points if you're tutoring for lands or playing cards like Exploration or Loot to drop extra lands each turn. An Unearthly Child from the Doctor Who precons is an interesting saga that I didn't even realise had vehicles on it at all until I was researching for this video. At all 3 stages, it says, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a Doctor card, a card with Doctor's Companion, or a vehicle card. Put that card into your hand and the rest onto the bottom of your library in a random order. So with this, we're just going to get 3 guaranteed vehicles for 3 mana, which I don't think is too bad at all, really. Unless, of course, your deck is full of Doctors and Doctor's Companions, but who really knows what's going with Aetherdrift? I won't be covering the quote-unquote good vehicles in this video. If you expected that, then you must be new here. We're just looking at weird stuff that might become better with new cards in Aetherdrift. Also, by weird, I just mean kind of unplayable or like heavily vehicle-focused. Some of these cards may have a niche synergy. If they do, comment below and let me know. Demolition Stomper is 6 mana for a whopping 10/7 that can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less. This big mech needs combined power 5 to crew, however. I'd never seen this card until planning out this video, and honestly, this is the one that kind of inspired the whole thing because it's huge and there's no chum blocking it. You're going to lose something decent when I drive this all over your lawn. No trample is a little rough, but if we have some of the evasion mentioned earlier or a new card coming with Aetherdrift maybe, I can see this thing doing a lot of work. And it's a cute little bug, just look at it. Mobile Garrison is 3 mana for a 3/4 with crew 2. Whenever Mobile Garrison attacks, untap another target artifact or creature you control. Whenever a card has the words untap and artifact on it, you know it means some kind of shenanigans. Also, this is the benefit of letting you untap the pilot that crewed it, which can help keep a blocker up. Overall, this is a nice little utility vehicle for your artifact decks. Prodigy's prototype is 1 white-blue for a 3/4 with crew 2. Whenever one or more vehicles you control attack, create a 1/1 colorless pilot creature token with, this creature crews vehicles as though its power were 2 or greater. Pilot tokens are something we haven't mentioned yet. They're basically soldiers who can crew 3 by themselves. Any excuse for making tokens, you know me, and these ones can drive bigger vehicles. This is nice because you don't even need to crew it to get the payoff, so it can just sit back until you can safely get it through. And maybe one of its own pilot's tokens is behind the wheel. Surge Hacker Mech is 4 mana for a 5/5 with Menace and crew 4. Whenever Surge Hacker Mech enters, it deals damage equal to twice the number of vehicles you control to target creature or planeswalker an opponent controls. I really love this card, and it's not just because it's from Kamigawa. If you have a bunch of vehicles down already, you can remove some trouble off the board, and it's a 5/5 with Menace after the fact, which is pretty huge. Dodgy Jalopy is 2 and a green for a star 5 with Trample and crew 3. Dodgy Jalopy's power is equal to the highest mana value among creatures you control. It also has Scavenge for 2 and a green. Exile this card from your graveyard, put a number of +1/+1 counters equal to this card's power on target creature. Scavenge only as a sorcery. So this thing could potentially be massive, and it has natural trample. Even after it gets killed, you can throw a bunch of counters onto something else on the board. I really like this. I'm definitely going to be picking some up just in case, because I can see this coming in handy down the line. Horde Hauler is 3 and a red for a 5/5 with Trample and crew 3. Whenever Horde Hauler deals combat damage to a player, create a treasure token for each artifact they control. We all know people love artifacts, there's always at least one of those guys in a pod. Natural Trample is lovely on this. It's another new Capenna card that I feel could do some work in Aetherdrift. Staying on new Capenna, but from March the Machine's Commander, Deluxe Dragster is 4 and a blue for a 4/3 with crew 2. Nothing special. But also, it can't be blocked except by vehicles, and when it deals combat damage to a player, you may cast target instant or sorcery card from that player's graveyard without paying its mana cost. This is going to be a must in any vehicle deck running blue. The evasion is great as it is, but stealing a spell can turn a game around entirely. Invasion of Kaladesh is blue-red for a Battle Siege. I thought we were doing vehicles here. When it enters, create a 1/1 colorless stop to artifact creature token with flying, but when you take down the 4 defense, it flips into Aetherwing Golden Scale Flagship, a star 4 with flying and crew 1. Its power is equal to the number of artifacts you control. If you're playing a vehicles deck, you're going to have a lot of artifacts. We love the natural evasion on our vehicles. This one has flying, and Thopter tokens just rule. Flywheel Racer is 2 mana for a 3/2 with Vigilance and crew 1. This little scooter is a mana dork. It has tap, add 1 mana of any color, but only if it's a creature. So not the best, since you'll at least need to tap a 1/1 to make it into a creature, but it's another vehicle for your synergies, and it's a colorless way to fix mana, so it's worth considering if you're having mana struggles. Also worth noting, the Vigilance means it can attack and then tap for the mana in the second main phase, so that's pretty handy. Next up, we've got 3 interesting vehicles from the Fallout set. Brotherhood Vertibird is 3 mana for a Starfall with flying and crew 2. Its power is equal to the number of artifacts you control, so that's another evasive beatdown engine. Reconcraft Theta is 4 mana for a 4/4 with flying and crew 2. When it enters, you create a 0/0 blue alien creature token, then put a +1/+1 counter on it. When the ship attacks, you proliferate, so if you're all about counters, this could definitely help out. And it's got flying, and we love flying! Lastly, the Pridwin Steel Flagship is 4 white for a 6/6 with flying and crew 2. When another non-token artifact enters the battlefield under your control, create a 2/2 white human knight creature token with this creature gets +2/+2 as long as an artifact entered the battlefield under your control this turn. So it's huge, it's evasive, and it makes tokens that are buffed from playing more vehicles. It's very high up on the curve, but you could flood the board with potential pilots very easily. Smoldering Stagecoach is 3 in a red for a star 5 with crew 2. Its power is equal to the number of instants and sorceries in your graveyard. When it attacks, the next instant spell and the next sorcery spell you cast this turn each have Cascade. This is going to be massive for any potential Aetherdrift Spellslinger commanders that we're inevitably going to get, so it's worth keeping an eye on. Dreadmobile is 2 in a black for a 3/3 with Menace and crew 1. For 1 mana and sacrificing another artifact or creature, you put a +1/+1 counter on Dreadmobile. It's a nice little sack outlet. Sadly, it's not free, but given enough mana and bodies to throw at it, it could get pretty nasty. And it has Menace, which is great. And finally, my favourite vehicle and Gurren Lagann reference. I know it's not really underplayed, but I just had to put it in here. Mech Titan Core is 2 mana for a 2/4 with crew 2. 5 mana, exile Mech Titan Core and 4 other artifact creatures and or vehicles you control. Create Mech Titan, a legendary 10/10 construct artifact creature token with flying, vigilance, trample, lifelink, and haste. That's all colors. When that token leaves the battlefield, return all cards exiled with Mech Titan Core, except Mech Titan Core, to the battlefield tapped under their owner's control. Let it be known that this will be going in every deck I make from Aetherdrift, and I will be trying my hardest to make the Mech Titan every single game I play. And there we go. Anything there you want to pick up? I've definitely discovered some really cool cards doing this that I'm going to grab in preparation before spoiler season starts. If you're watching this post-spoiler season, what commanders from Aetherdrift are you excited to build? And are there any cards from this video that you'll use in any of those decks? Let me know. I'm so excited for this set. The theming has really got a hold of me, so I can't wait for it to drop. So expect more Aetherdrift around here from me when we do get spoilers. Again, like, comment, and subscribe. Lets me know that you like the videos, lets the algorithm know that you like the videos, and pushes it out to more people, which is fantastic. And with that, I'm out. Peace. And has since gone on to become a deciduous type, not quite How do words work? Roaring Earth is a fantastic landfall payoff for your vehicles, giving you some passive buffing for just missing your land drops. No. Vehicle artifacts have a power and toughness, but aren't creatures until they have... Let's look at some creatures that synergize with vehicles. No, we're not actually going to do that. Girl, that's how you open a door. Oh, we are going to do that.